This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at Curaleaf, one of the nation's top multi-state cannabis operators with 49 local dispensaries, 14 cultivation sites, and 13 processing facilities, serving up more than 165,000 registered medical marijuana patients. Check them out over at curaleaf.com, spelled Curaleaf. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Thursday, October 24th, 2019, and you're tuned into episode 825 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Before we start today's news, I need to make a quick correction on a news item from yesterday. In a story involving Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker and the 4-month vape ban he recently imposed, I misspoke and said that he wanted the ban to end in July. I meant January, but my brain kind of broke there and I didn't notice the mistake until it was too late. I apologize for the error. We have a great bit of original reporting over at Leafly by Joe Kukura, Marissa Wensky, and David Downs that looks at the sale of contaminated marijuana vaporizer cartridges sold in illicit California dispensaries. The Leafly team went out and purchased a number of illicit market vape carts from unlicensed shops and had them tested to see what was inside. As you probably guessed, it was not a pretty picture. In fact, it's pretty grim, with one vape cart in particular having 1,780 times more myclobutanil than allowed. That's the fungicide that is used in some food crops, but that can convert to hydrogen cyanide under the application of heat. Other vape carts were riddled with other types of pesticides way over the limit, in addition to being stuffed with vitamin E acetate, an additive thought to be behind some of the health problems attributed to the use of vaporizers. This one is deep with lots of background and numbers and worth the full read. This is absolutely one of our industry's more pressing matters to figure out, so we all need to stay on top of things. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at MJTodayDaily.com. We jump up to my corner of the country here in Maine for our second top story. This one grabs a top headline not so much for its local impact, but more for its symbolic significance, as Sheepscot General Farm, which made headlines last month for holding a pick-your-own hemp weekend, was dropped last week by its bank and insurance company, with both claiming that federal prohibitions on marijuana makes it untenable for them to keep doing business. This is a pretty good proxy story for countless hemp farmers, producers, and retailers who navigate a weird zone where hemp is now federally legal to grow, but only kind of. The situation for turning hemp into usable products is equally uncertain, as the USDA still has yet to release guidelines for how to stay in compliance. Farmers Taryn and Ben Marcus, owners of the Sheepscot General Farm, say they will now work to find new banking and insurance services. Our final top story today is a bit of cannabis media inside baseball news, as Cassandra Farrington, co-founder and CEO of MJBizDaily, is stepping down as chief executive, to be replaced by the company's president and founding editor, Chris Walsh. Farrington led MJBizDaily as it grew to one of the top voices in marijuana media and events, with their annual Las Vegas convention now drawing in north of 30,000 attendees. The changeover will become effective at the turn of the year, with Farrington to stay involved with MJBizDaily as chair of the board. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz on in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's top multi-state cannabis operators with 49 local dispensaries, 14 cultivation sites, and 13 processing facilities, serving up more than 165,000 registered medical marijuana patients. With Curaleaf being located now in 12 states, there's a pretty good chance that there's a Curaleaf shop close to you. So take some time today and open up Curaleaf.com and check out the nearest location, because there's no better way to experience the Curaleaf difference than by making a visit yourself. While you're visiting Curaleaf, ask about the Veterans Cannabis Project, which Curaleaf is helping to raise funds for and awareness of via in-store displays, which are being rolled out at select Curaleaf shops nationwide. You can learn more about that very important organization, which fights for the supported and unrestricted access to medical marijuana by military veteran patients, over at vetscp.org. That's VETSCP.org. Big thanks to everyone at Cureleaf for supporting our show and great causes like the one fought for by the folks over at the Veterans Cannabis Project. All right, time for the Blitz. New York State Senator Liz Krueger, a well-known figure in marijuana for her long-running advocacy of legalizing cannabis, spoke at an industry networking event on Tuesday and said that she thought it likely that New York State lawmakers would pass adult use legalization next year. Senator Krueger cited the ongoing vape health scare as a reason for passing adult use legalization and mentioned the interest New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is showing in coordinating cannabis policy with neighboring states. If there's anyone in New York who has a good handle on the chances of legalization passing, it's Senator Krueger, so this is good news. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds held a press conference yesterday to announce that she is not afraid of implementing a ban on the sale of vaporizers, but that her administration was still working out the best way to respond to the vaporizer health scare, which has been blamed for 41 cases in her state. Reynolds is scheduled to be briefed on the matter more later today and said, quote, "We'll take a look at what they're recommending. They've done all the research and spent time doing the background work, and so we'll take a look at that and see what makes the most sense for Iowa for where we're at," unquote. This is a good one to keep an eye on. Canadian licensed marijuana provider HEXO Corp just announced that it was raising $70 million in funding through private investors, including the company's CEO Sebastien St. Louis, as well as a number of HEXO board members. The funding is in the form of convertible debt, the details of which you can read over at New Cannabis Ventures. Keeping our sights up in Canada, we have MJBizDaily reporting that the Canadian marijuana company Freedom Cannabis is set to turn on the country's largest array of rooftop solar panels later next month. That's not the largest set of panels in marijuana. We're talking the biggest set in the country. Freedom Cannabis will cover its 126,000 square foot grow facility with more than 4,500 panels. While I think it's kind of silly to grow cannabis in Canada using solar panels in the first place, it is totally awesome to see renewable energy at this scale in the legal cannabis industry. So kudos. Another story, another Canadian headline. This time we have Matt Lamers over MJBizDaily checking in on how Canada is doing in terms of its legal marijuana packaging waste problem. This is something that's ubiquitous right now in legal cannabis markets, as packaging requirements are forcing legal marijuana manufacturers to package their buds, edibles, and vaporizers in a veritable mountain of aggregated plastic trash. While there are whiffs of new packaging recycling programs starting up here and there in Canada and legal US states, the better solution is to avoid using plastic in the first place. Open this one up for the full dive in. We all have to work on this problem. Our next headline needs a quick bit of disclosure as it concerns our sponsor Ease, which just had a judge throw out a lawsuit filed against it by a customer unhappy with receiving unsolicited marketing messages via text. The case was thrown out after U.S. District Court Judge James Donato found that the plaintiff in the case, former Ease customer Farrah Williams, agreed to first try arbitration in the event of any conflict with Ease. Williams' attorney told MJBizDaily that she would be filing an appeal in the case. And finally for today, Kyle Yeager over Marijuana Moment joined in with the press scrum following Democratic presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg as he toured Top Notch, a Las Vegas marijuana cultivation facility and dispensary. During the visit, Buttigieg copped to using cannabis a quote-unquote handful of times a long time ago, and also said that he thought medical marijuana should be covered by health insurance. Zip over to Kyle's story for more on this and to see photos he snapped of the visit. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Cureleaf, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in, starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.